good morning, or whatever other time you happen to be watching this. I'm going to be filming this all in one take because I've got a very busy day ahead of me. Don't have a whole lot of time. First thing I want to say is I feel a little bit vindicated. My predictions were a little bit wrong, but for the most part, they were kind of dead on the mark about what we've seen in this chapter. But without any further ado, let's get right into it. Cover page. Denjiro is still dressed in his crazy Kyoshiro hair, and he's eating it. It's a quality picture. It's pretty funny. I like it a whole lot. From there, we got 3 whole pages of Yamato and Kaido, which was more than I thought we were going to get. We did ultimately receive the name of Yamato's Devil Fruit, which I was uh, very wrong about. In retrospect, it does kind of make sense, as in my prediction, I assumed, alongside what most of the community was saying, that it was probably a Kirin or Keelan. But that is a Chinese mythological beast, and in retrospect, Wano being very much Japanese themed, both culturally and mythologically focused on Japan's history, does make more sense. Her devil fruit, sorry, uh, is the Makami Dog fruit. A mythical zone, of course, as we all assumed. Kaido does refer to Yamato as a wannabe Odin, which is pretty interesting. Something else that Kaido said that was very interesting was he called Orochi a tyrant, which to me very much seems like a pot calling the kettle black kind of situation, but that's alright. Uh, let's see. Yamato is still, of course, reaffirming the desire that to open the country, help the Akazaya samurai defeat Kaido. Still wants to defeat Kaido. Uh, Very interesting is that Yamato also has a breath weapon, very similar to Kaido, and in fact he responds with a Boro breath. Yamato's attack is called the Namuji Hyoga, and they kind of combine in a swirl and then explode out. Kind of Dragon Ball esque, but instead of a beam struggle, it seems to be a very quick affair. Though saying that now in the anime, it might get extended into a beam struggle when we get here, but it'll be okay. I've got high hopes for Toei after the past couple episodes of the anime we've received. Hopefully, it doesn't come to that, but I'm not ruling anything out. From there, of course, we do get to the meat of the chapter, which is what I predicted, of course, is Brooke and Robin against Black Maria and her goons. Um, we start off with Robin seeing illusions of Nico Olvia, Professor Clover, and Jaguar D. Sol, which are in fact a number that we have not seen before, a female number too, which is very interesting. Kunyun. Um, I'd have to go and look up what number Kunyun actually is in Japanese, but I do believe that that is the first female number that we've seen. That's pretty interesting. She does kind of have fangs, but she largely seems to be one of the more human-looking numbers that we've seen, where especially with the others, they look very monstrous, where she looks largely humanoid. There are also 2 smile users, both of them snake smile users. One with kind of like the lower body of a snake, so she looks kind of like a Lamia or a Naga or what have you. And then the other one just seems to kind of have the neck of a snake. They do both, of course, have like little snake tongues and fangs and everything. But with a simple Tres Manos Frisia, 3 big hands come out, push up on the necks of the 2 small users in the number. From there, Brooke and Robin are running, and again we get a nice view, I guess, of the full body of the female number. Again, it's just interesting, I suppose, how human she really is. Just very big, but there we go. Then Black Maria bursts through. A little bit of a wardrobe change. Has the kind of a little bit of, I guess, bandages around her chest, so she can fight a little more freely without having to be too indecent, of course. Thank you, Oda. Uh, I don't know. I mean, name the channel after it. I love me some Brook. Just seeing Brook run around screaming as he is wont to do, it makes me feel very happy. We do get a bit of a depressing moment, of course, as Robin and Brooke, mid-running, commiserate about their equally depressing backstories. I said equally depressing. I personally feel like one is a little more sad than the other, but we don't gotta get into that right now. Um, and then Black Mario pulls out one of the strangest weapons, which is a very high bar in One Piece, but one of the strangest weapons I've ever seen. It is like a pole that has a circle on the end of it. Inside that circle is a smile user who is a pug. And I mean, I guess that his face is very flat. I don't really know. Apparently, he's starting a fire. He's spinning around, or at least the wheel is spinning around his head. Very, very strange. Maybe when it gets animated, it'll make a little bit more sense, but that is easily one of the... You know what? I actually just took a look at it again, and it actually shows that his head is sticking out to one side while his body is facing the rest of the way, and he's literally running on a treadmill. I just noticed that. I don't even know if that makes it worse or better, to be honest. That is easily one of the weirdest things I've ever seen Oda draw as a weapon. But carrying on, just kind of doubling back to earlier, yeah, apparently Black Maria can create illusions. This kind of, I mean, we still don't know what her Devil Fruit is after this chapter, but it also looks like the fight is, of course, not over yet, so that might get revealed soon. Hopefully next chapter if we stick with this. But, maybe a mythical spider from Japan that can create illusions. It's probably something like that. Not very well versed on Japanese mythology, of course. But then, very funny, fighting a big spider lady, Nico Robin busts out her spider net to pick herself up off as the Pug Smile is causing a fire. Still don't get how he's making a fire. Don't think about it too hard. And then, of course, my man, Soul King Brook, busts out a new power. He astrally projects, or spiritually projects, whatever you'd like to call it, and does an attack called Cold Soul, where his soul flies through the Pugman. He screams, "It's freezing!" And then he presumably just gets knocked unconscious and is down for the count. Very cool that Brook has just this kind of ranged attack. It does ultimately leave him vulnerable, as Robin had to hold him in her arms. I also did think it was very funny before he did that attack. He just said, "Robin-san, can you hold me for a little longer?" And at first I really thought he was going to do something sexual, but then, the next panel, of course, his soul's coming out, so saved us from that. What a legend, Brook. I love him. Then, of course, Black Maria starts going in saying, "Don't you know your friends are always going to sell you out? Like, we haven't been through this. You don't know our story, Black Maria, okay? Stay in your lane." She's trying to, roast Sanji for calling Robin here. We do real quick get to see another panel of Brook being awesome, using Soul Parade, the Ice Burn, to get rid of all the fire that the Pug Smile created. Black Maria is still taunting Sanji, calling him a loser. Second highest bounty on the crew. Big oof to the Zoro fans. Black Maria calls Sanji a laughing stock, and Robin's just smiling. Because, as I've said, we've already been through this. We know the answer. After that, Brook is like, "Hey, Robin, I'm gonna go take care of the light work. You have fun." And from there, he turns to go face the two Snake Smile ladies and the number. Again, well, not again, I should say, but rather, ultimately, I appreciate the moments that he got against Black Maria. I do also appreciate that he's getting at least some shine. He still gets to fight against two Smiles and a Number, which is they're not weak opponents by any stretch. Although they are definitely on like the lower tiers of Kaido's crew compared to the other monsters that he does have. Oh, we of course get to hear him say, "Even though I'm scared of ghosts," before he goes running off to fight the scary ladies. But all in all, what a lad. But anyways, Robin just kind of lays down the law with Black Maria. Of course, how much it means for Sanji to rely on Robin. Just that trust, that bond that Robin's built up with the whole crew ever since Enies Lobby. It's very touching to see. It was very, very feels good moment. I really liked it a whole lot. But then, just as Brooke busts out a new power, she does too. Gigante Fleur, giant flower in French, creates a version of herself that is giant. We've already seen the ability for her to make giant limbs, for her to make the ability for her to make clones. Now she's made a giant clone. It's naked, with multiple giant arms sprouting out of it, like flower petals. Very interesting to see what happens there, but unfortunately, that is where we cut away to another thing that I predicted, although once again, I thought it was just going to be a single panel, but of course, when any chapter seems easy to predict, Oda throws us a curveball. Uh, Momonosuke and Shinobu have met up with Law's crew, Polar Tang's back on the beach where the raid first kicked off. Start of Act 3. Luffy's back there. And Caribou. I forgot that he was even in this arc almost. Caribou is here. And much like in Fishman Island, he is just creeping around. He obviously wants, Luffy to defeat Kaido so he can escape, as, Kaido and the Beast Pirates imprisoned him. We also get to see Luffy, even though he looks kind of tired and exhausted, telling Momo to it's time to nut up or shut up, son. You gotta be a man, be a man. But yeah, whew. We do get to see a shot. Finally, a very I guess I don't. I'm trying to think of the word I'm trying to say here. I guess just a very establishing shot as we actually see Onigashima, not quite directly overhead just yet. It is a little bit up and off to the side of that beach. So it's been very confusing as to how far Onigashima's actually made it. It is not over the flower capital yet. It does look like we still have a good bit of time there. I guess with that is, I should say before I start speculating anymore, is that Luffy tells Momo he needs Momo to turn into a dragon and run across the flame clouds that we've seen him create back in Punk Hazard to carry him back up there. That's very good. I'm excited. I'm excited to see what Oda's going to do with Caribou. But back to what I was saying with Onigashima, is that at least from my point of view now, it does seem like Luffy's got his transport back up to Onigashima. He is going to join Yamato fighting against Kaido. Maybe Yamato might be on the ropes by the time that Luffy gets up there, but that ultimately kind of the climax of the fight will probably be climaxing as Onigashima is directly over the flower capital. So we've got a good chunk of chapters left to go. And it even does say like a final trip back to Onigashima. We are ultimately reaching the end game, but I do believe that Wano still has a good bit to go in the raid before we wrap things up. No break next week. Very good to hear. Haven't really watched the Olympics, but I understand that that's why we had to have a break last week. And of course, always happy to let Oda get his rest. He is a very hardworking man. But yeah, that was 1020. Nailed a couple predictions. Completely whiffed on some others. We did get to see Sanji, but we did not get to see Sanji fighting Queen. Still looking forward to see what happens there. Hopefully, 1021 carries on much in the same way that Jinbei versus Who's Who had two chapters kind of dedicated to that conflict. That maybe we'll get to see Robin versus Black Maria in the next chapter. And again, very excited to see what Caribou's up to. He's certainly not that strong. His addition to Luffy's forces potentially not that big in a power scaling sense, but he's been in the wind for quite a while. His power is very interesting and very helpful in the right circumstances. And he's already kind of stated that he would like to be an ally, although Luffy, understandably and very justifiably, hates him. But we'll see. And with that, that's all from me. Feel free to leave a comment. Happy to know what you guys think. Feel free to leave a like if you liked it. Feel free to subscribe if you want more. But most importantly, guys, have a good one. Y'all take it easy.